receptors that are located in the olfactory nerve. And what number was the olfactory nerve? Which cranial? One. Okay, because you have one nose. So here's your little olfactory bulb, and you guys will see these tomorrow when we cut that brain open. And then you'll see the little sensory fibers coming in. And so what happens is, as the air comes in and up through your nose, you have receptors all along this region, okay, moves into these mucous membranes, and then the chemicals, the stimuli, ends up depolarizing these cells and then sending the signal to that olfactory cortex so you can make sense out of it. Remember that your olfactory cortex is also part of your limbic system, right, because it creates a lot of memory from that. So down here, this is the mucous region in the nose. And then here's your little olfactory epithelium. And then as you work your way up, you get closer and closer to where those sensory nerves are. So your sense of smell is really important, and it's also tied to your sense of taste because of the chemoreceptor tied to it. So the pathway goes to the olfactory cortex, and then also the hypothalamus, the amygdala, and then what happens with your limbic system. So you have all these regions, and that's why the olfactory region is located where it is, because it needs to be proximal to where these are in order for you to be able to form that memory. So that's why sense of smell, you don't forget a whole lot in terms of smells, right? Because we're near that fire yesterday, you won't forget that. Then your sense of taste also is tied to your chemoreceptors, and you have little receptor taste buds on these things called fungiform papillae, foliate papillae, and these circumvallate papillae. What these are just the bumps on your tongue. These are the little ones, okay, and then these are the foliate, well, the little tiny ones, and then the foliates are going to be on the sides. So all of these are chemical receptors. And your tongue isn't just this kind of smooth thing, all right? You actually have little pits on the inside, but then little hair cells that then receive the information. And then it interprets it based on the type of chemical that it is. So this is what you see when you move towards the back, the circumvallate papillae, that's these guys. But then you have these kind of hollow areas where the chemical goes into, right? And then what it does is it's going to trigger these little receptors here and then take the information to the nerve.
Wow.
So that could be, what were some of the nerves that help you with tasting? No, not hypoglossal. You guys remember? Glossopharyngeal, facial.
Hypoglossal?
Make sure you go back and look at those. You had a question?
Vegas?
No, not Vegas.
Hypoglossal?
Olfactory is about 90%. It has to do with
It says-
taste, but you don't actually
it says
taste
something
with your
about
nose. Your sense of smell is tied to that. Chrissy, did you have a question?
I thought it was Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas says taste on here, that's why.
Well, big, yeah, but minimal.
Oh,
Okay. All right, so this is what your taste bud looks like. You've got these things called gustatory cells, right? The gustatory cells are the taste cells. They're the ones that allow you to taste stuff. So what happens is you're going to have a pore right here on your tongue. This is the surface of your tongue here. And then you guys see how it's all squamous epithelial tissue.
Simple.
Isn't that cool?
suppose.
And then these
Yeah.
are little hairs, okay?
Oh.
These gustatory hairs will get stimulated, and then the chemicals will kind of come down in between, and then they hit the sensors that are located to that. So based on the chemical, so it could be salty, it could be sweet, it could be acidic, that's what activates these things, because you have receptors for those specific molecules. Right? There is a condition called hairy tongue. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that.
No. Oh.
Google it. Okay, go to Google Images, not now. Right? And you can Google,
Hairy
these are
tongue?
like my ADD class, okay? You can go there and it'll come in. So what I did with my nieces, or I think this is when the baby was 2, she was too young, but the other ones were 6 and 8. And so I went on Google Images and I Googled hairy tongue because I don't know what we were talking about. And they were like, that's not true. You can't get hair on your tongue. I'm like, look, watch. So I brought it up. And so I showed them pictures of it. And I said, this is what happens when you don't brush your teeth twice a day.
Oh.
And they were like, I'm like, I swear, look.
That's a
and then
great
I showed
idea.
a human face with the hairy tongue. And that is so gross. And I hear my sister, she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm showing them pictures on Google. She's like, uh-oh. She comes in. I was going to show her the STD ones, of course. That one I saved for my nephew when he turned 13. But
Steered straight. I like
Should
that.
be rocking in your
kids,
pocket.
your males to wear condoms, go to the STD site.
What happens when your taste bud gets swollen?
Yeah.
When it gets infected, part of it could be you have a little ingrown hair. Okay, you could get that on there, or it could have been irritated by acidity, like tomatoes, pineapple, some oranges, limes. It's like really acidic stuff will actually irritate the tongue.
Oh,
really
that's what it
spicy
is.
stuff.
Cool.
Okay, because
So you
that
have
has
to,
a
like,
lot
shave
more
it?
hydrogen on it. So the hydrogen, what?
You have to like shave it?
I don't know what they do for hairy tongues. I'm sure you could look up treatment
That
for
could be an
hairy
extra
tongue.
credit question.
Okay, yeah.
So, I think the person who would eat like lemon and like salty chips,
Yep.
the lime and the chips and then she.
Yeah, it's called chipotle chips.
She ate it all the time and she wound up getting like,
Oh,
her
wow.
tongue was like swollen and cracked.
Mhm.
Like it looked like it had
Oh, I
like
guess I'm not
Yeah.
getting Chipotle chips for a while.
Yeah, when you eat really acidic stuff or really
Alright.
spicy stuff, you can end up getting that because what happens is,
Let me see it.
what salt does is it actually helps dehydrate you.
No.
You guys have noticed that when you eat really salty stuff, you get really
Oh,
thirsty,
heck yeah.
right?
Here's some beer.
And then the acidity actually ends up causing damage to the tissue,
Ew.
because that's just your little squamous epithelium, right? So if you get too much acidity in your mouth, you're gonna get burned, okay, just like you would with an eating acid. So then that can cause problems, okay?
but that takes a while.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, it'll take a little while to heal. Yeah, because now you've injured it. Okay, just like if you burn your skin,
That's
now you've
wrong.
injured it.
Gross.
Dude, it's like you gotta be a unlucky.
Diabetes or something. Yeah. No, and, yeah, you guys, if you keep getting canker sores in your mouth, all right, that could be, that's usually an indication of something I can't drink today.
That's what?
Supposed to do this at 6 p.m. today, not early, right? But, no, what happens is if you start getting a lot of canker sores, you're having some kind of immune issue going on, all right? And that can be a problem, so you wanna make sure you get that checked out. Or it could be a virus, it depends on what it is. Okay, it could be a herpes virus, it could be a bacterial
It's like,
infection,
oh,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of different things that can cause those problems,
Acid, like,
all right?
like
That would be safe for micro, when you guys take micro.
Stress too, right?
Stress.
Yeah,
I
stress
get,
can cause
I get
that.
cold sores from
Cold
stress.
sores.
System suppressed.
Herpes simplex too, I
So
think.
here are your tastes, okay? Make
Herpes
sure you know these.
2 or
Two or
1?
Sweet,
2 or 3.
sour, salt, bitter, and this thing called umami.
Umami.
So this is gonna be for more amino acid
Sounds like
stuff.
sashimi.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of it as sushi, but it's not.
And you love
Right.
sushi.
So sweet, sour, salt, bitter.
sweet
Your
sour.
sour is high concentration of hydrogen ion. So this is gonna be your acidic stuff. Salty is gonna be more sodium, more chloride. Sweet, obviously, are gonna be your sugars, your sucrose, your fructose, your maltose, your, what else do we have? Glucose, okay? And then bitter are gonna be more the alkaline type things, the more basic stuff. So if you were to drink baking soda, right? That would be this. I would not recommend it. Baking soda. All right, so then in terms of how you taste stuff, it comes down, contacts those gustatory hairs, that then stimulates those cells to open,
Oh, yeah, I
and
saw
then
that.
it'll,
Sorry, what did you say umami was?
umami is amino acids, glutamate and aspartate. So what you're gonna be doing is now you're gonna be generating potentials in those cells. Well, when you generate the potential, you send a signal, sensory sends the information in, gets transmitted to your brain into that gustatory cortex. So sodium is the big one when it comes to salty. Sour is the big one when it comes to hydrogen. Okay, so that's your hydrogen ion in that food that's causing that. And then there's a G protein that's part of the whole secondary transmitter. I'm not gonna worry too much
Okay,
about
good.
all
Blah, blah,
this
blah.
crazy.
Spicy.
Spicy would be more acidic.
Sour.
Yeah,
Just let's go.
spicy's more than sour than salt.
Right.
All right, and then your
I wanna get the
gustatory
fuck out of
pathway,
here.
that's where your cranial
I wanna get
nerves
this
will
finished.
send the signals to that region. And then, obviously, taste is also gonna have a big thing to do with your limbic system. And then remember, your gustatory cortex is located in the insula.
Insula.
All right, so this is basically the pathway that it would follow. Now, you're not gonna have to remember this whole crazy pathway, but
Jeez.
here are
Cheese and
your
rice.
facial nerve and your glossopharyngeal nerve. Those are your two big ones when it comes to taste. Which one has 5 branches?
Glossopharyngeal.
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 Facial,
Facial.
Oh.
okay, facial 5. Yes. right, and then your
Glasses.
taste, you guys, over 80% of your taste is tied to your sense of smell. So
Wow.
if you're really stuffy, right, do you feel like eating when you have a cold or when you're really bad? I don't. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Now, I don't know why they haven't come up with a diet pill for that yet, but not that I want to be all stuffed up all the time, but I think that would work. Okay. You also have thermoreceptors, mechanoreceptors, nociceptors in your mouth. Okay. All these things will influence taste. Pizza doesn't taste so good after you burn the roof of your mouth and your tongue, does it? How about coffee?
No,
Right? I don't want to keep drinking it after I've done that.
ice coffee.
So that can hurt a lot.
Starbucks.
I'm not even that.
Okay, we'll go to the ear, and we're almost
Oh.
done.
Love
You got
it.
3 parts
With
to
the
your ear,
stuff on the bottom?
external, middle, and internal.
What is that stuff they mix in there?
Everything that comes in your
Condensed
ear, you
milk?
guys, is a wave. Right? Just like your eyes have light waves, these are sound waves. You can't see these things. If you claim you can, we gotta talk.
You could in the 70s.
I'm surprised.
It's called LSD.
Yeah. it's
Cause
nuts.
schizophrenia afterwards.
All right, so your external ear is what allows you to hear, so waves come in, hit your middle ear, and then send the signal. Your internal ear, this is where the core in terms of the receptors for hearing and equilibrium are located. So they're going to be activated independently, it just depends on what's coming in. This is your outer ear, external ear, middle ear, this is your tympanic membrane, which is your eardrum, and then you have your malleus, incus, and then your stapes. So these are the ones that are going to transmit the signal, these are your little auditory ossicles, and then they're going to wave through, and then they enter this area. So the wave passes through this into here. This is called the vestibule. These are the semicircular canals. This over here is the cochlea. The semicircular canals are located to the vestibular nerve. The cochlea is connected to the cochlear nerve. And then these two merge together and become cranial nerve number 8, vestibulocochlear. All right, so that vestibulocochlear
Oh
nerve
my gosh.
controls these things. All right, so it allows you to hear and maintain your balance. This is why if you plug your ears and close your eyes, okay, you have an even harder time balancing. All right? When you have your earbuds in, okay, and you're riding a bike or you're rollerblading or whatever, you have now taken out one of the sensory things that's coming in to help maintain your balance. All right, so not only can you not hear what's coming behind you, but you've also now lost another sense. So it's actually safer to ride a bike, rollerblade, walk, run without things inside your ears. Okay, I'm not saying that causes injuries. Of course, if you get hit, it does, but that's why that's tied to that. So it depends on where your head positioning is. This is how these guys are going to respond. The sound is over here. Right? Yeah.
But if you do ride a bike or run with something in your ear, does that strengthen your other senses, like closing your eyes and working your core? You know how that'll strengthen you better? Does that work with the ear too, or no?
It could over time, but it depends. Because
I've been
when you're
having these
learning how to
headphones
do
in and I'm
something,
not losing any weight.
You don't want to have more things in the way.
We don't have
And
that.
as you get more comfortable, it becomes a little bit easier.
Depends what you
But
eat too.
you don't want to do it right
Yeah.
away. But it's still, I mean, if you're writing
Huh?
or
Really depends
blading,
what you
it's
eat.
a lot safer not to have sound. Put it on speakers or something.
Man, I'll save that for
But
Thursday.
just
when
because
I'm
you're
done.
into skate, same thing.
That barbecue
Skateboarding,
sound.
scootering, whatever.
So,
I gotta work Thursday, so.
is it
I'm eating sushi
possible to
tonight.
produce a sound wave that
Where are you
can
gonna
bounce
go?
off of balance right into Really?
Explosion.
Where do you usually go?
Just the sound of the explosion.
Wow, Costco.
You're close enough,
Costco?
because a
That's not
concussion
sushi.
will send a.
Yeah, I
a
know,
wave.
but
But I mean, that's from
it's just rolls, buddy. That's not sushi.
Yeah, but you'd have a reflex to
California
get out
rolls
of the
will
way
do
as
for
well.
now. But sushi
Your
is
body
usually
will
raw.
reflexively remove you from that situation. Yeah,
Have you ever been to Pulisabi?
yeah.
To where?
Get out of the way.
Pulisabi?
Yeah.
Right south of San
All
Francisco.
right, guys, so do you have a question?
So if you can damage your eardrum, doesn't really mean that you're gonna damage your.
You can damage your hearing by damaging your eardrum. I'm gonna get to that. All right, so your external ear, you guys, is just the outer portion, and it's curved the way it is because it likes to funnel the sound into that little tiny external acoustic meatus that then passes through the external canal. So what's gonna happen is that tissue, as it's passing through, is transmitting the vibration of the wave to the little bones, but the first thing it has to hit is your tympanic membrane, all right? And that's just connective tissue. If you perforate the tympanic membrane, if it gets inflamed, if it gets detached, you're gonna have problems. You're not gonna be able to hear very well, okay, it's gonna sound muffled, or like something's in